Sometimes a move is about so much more than boxes. It's about memories, history, and items that represent a lifetime of love and legacy. I've seen families pause at a dining room table because it's where every Thanksgiving happened, or hold on to a painting because it was grandma's favorite. Moving seniors or handling an estate is emotional, complicated, and often overwhelming. I'm Dale Corpus, a senior transition specialist and real estate expert based in the San Francisco Bay Area. And like many of you, I'm part of the sandwich generation, balancing care for my own family while guiding others through these big transitions. Here's my promise to you. Every episode of this show brings you real stories, practical tools, and expert insights to make senior living and caregiving transitions easier so you and your loved ones can move forward with confidence instead of stress. Today, we're going beyond the boxes. My guest is Kimberly Tucker, a true veteran in the moving industry with over 30 years of experience. She has handled every type of relocation from downsizing seniors to high-value estate moves, and she's mastered the art of white glove service. We're going to talk about how she and her team handle specialty items like fine art and antiques, coordinate complex multi-step moves, work with multiple decision makers like adult children and trustees, and keep seniors and their families feeling cared for during a stressful time. Whether you're planning a move for yourself, a parent, or managing an estate, today's conversation will give you insider knowledge on how to make it seamless. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast, where we help families navigate senior living, real estate, and everything in between. Hosted by Senior Transition Specialist Dale Corpus, this show brings you expert insights, real solutions, and stress-free strategies to make senior transitions simple. Ready to dive in? Let's go.
And we're back, everybody. Kim, welcome to the show today. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on. I told you right before this is the first time I've done this. So
yeah.
Be gentle.
I always tell people I'm really good with the first timers. I want to say about 90% of the guests I bring on, it's their first time podcasts. And I know how it is being a first time podcast guest. And you don't know what to expect, but you got it. I got you covered and I won't let you falter. So let's just jump into our first question. Kim, are you ready?
I'm ready.
So Kim, you've been in the moving industry for over 30 years. That's quite a long time. How did you get started?
It's just kind of happened. 35 years ago, I had made some friends with a bunch of people, a bunch of guys actually that worked for a moving company. And every time we'd go to lunch or anything, they would just be complaining about this particular company and all, they didn't care, all these things. And one day we're sitting there and I said, I could do this so much better than what they're doing. And a bunch of them said, we'd come work for you. We'd come work for you. Let's do this. And I kind of blew it off and didn't think about it. And they sort of kept bugging me about it. And finally, one day I just decided, okay, let's do this. And I literally bought a truck and got equipment. And I was working in the high tech field, actually. We were off. That was 1991.
Wow.
And it just took off. Yeah.
What inspired you to specialize in high-end white glove and estate moves instead of more traditional moving services?
I think really we just fell into it over time. I think that every entrepreneur and small business knows that when you first get started, you're taking every job that comes down the pipe, right? It doesn't matter what it is, you're taking it because you need the money. But we started getting a really good reputation and realtors started hearing about us and attorneys, and they started referring us and giving us bigger and bigger projects. Okay. And we realized that we were really good at it. And if we didn't know something, I think our specialty was never saying no. Okay. Like figure it out. I hired experts. I hired people that knew how to do all this. I mean, the object is really, let's get it there safely. And what do we got to do to make that happen?
Yeah. You're the first person that said the motto, never say no. That's what I use with my real estate team too, with the newer agents. Never say no. We all went to college. We know how to figure things out, right? And just kind of never say no, always say yes. And we can figure it out and we'll figure it out together. So I love that. Now, what does white glove moving mean to you, and why is it especially important for senior relocations?
White glove has a different meaning to different people. Yeah. And when I talk to people, it's like they think of large estates, which we do, and handling artwork and statues and high valued items. We do packing, wrapping, crating. We can do all of that. But everyone deserves a white glove service. So while a lot of our seniors do move those antiques and those high end items, we also have ones that don't necessarily have super high end, but it's their stuff. It's their precious items that they've earned over the years, and it's valuable to them. So to me, you don't have to have high value to deserve and need white glove. So we want our guys treating everyone the same. So to me, it just depends on how you look at it, I guess.
Where's your company based out of, and where do you move people? What's your territory? What's the geographic area that you cover?
So we're in the Bay Area. Our physical location is in San Jose. And for local moves, we do everything, I would say, if I can avoid San Francisco and the stairs and stuff, we do San Francisco moves. But typically it's like, I would say San Francisco down to Gilroy, that kind of area for local moves. And we do Hollister. We go all over. But there's a second side of us, and that is that we do long distance, and we are licensed to go all over California. And then we also have a long distance department as well. We're an agent for Wheaton Van Lines, which means that I've got 350 agents, drivers that can take you anywhere.
Got it.
So we cover everything.
Got it. Now I want to segue into talking about luxury moves. So when you're moving high value or fragile items, fine arts, antiques, heirlooms, how is your process different from a standard move?
Well, we come prepared, I guess, is the first thing. We have a pack van that's stocked full of everything, every size box, every size, anything that we may need to pack and to build custom boxes, which we do a lot. If we know ahead of time and we've gone in and we've done a walkthrough and all of that, then we measure the pieces for crating. The crates get made ahead of time and we bring them with us out onto the job site. In most cases with large estates and luxury homes, it's a multi-day process and we're out there for several days. So even if we didn't know about something, we've got an opportunity then to measure something. Oh, we didn't know about this. But most of the time with the larger ones, we've done a walkthrough and we know everything that's in the house before we get there.
Okay. Can you share a story of a particular complex specialty item you've had to move and how you ensured its safety?
Every time anybody asks me about a different move or something that we've done over the years, I always come back to one particular project that we did, because at some point I was sitting in my office and somebody said, "There's a priest in the office." And I went, "What?" So I came out, I met him, and the Catholic Church sent somebody down to meet with me because they wanted to discuss a project.
Okay.
They had created a replica of the Shroud of Turin, and it was on like a rotating display and was being taken from place to place for people to view it.
Okay.
And so he wanted to discuss moving it. And so they did hire us. And the first place that it was located at that we had to go pick it up from was a monastery in the San Jose foothills. Okay. Did you know we have monks in San Jose? I had no idea.
Didn't know that.
And before we did the move, they came out with holy water and they blessed the trucks and they blessed all of our guys. And they did this whole ceremony. And then we did the move. And then the second time we moved it, we took it to San Francisco to a church where there was cloistered nuns and no one is allowed inside. The priests had never even been inside. And I went because I wanted to take pictures.
Okay.
So this job was just so touching to me in so many different ways. And so no one had been inside. So once they got to the wall,
Yeah.
The guys went inside because, of course, it's not something you can just hand over to the nuns because it's like 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And so once I got to the wall, I knew that I was going to be waiting outside. So I'm waiting outside, and all of a sudden the priest comes running back out, and he comes running over to me. And he said that the Mother Superior wanted me to come inside. He had told her it was a woman-owned moving company and that I was outside. And she said, bring her in. I want to meet her. And so I got to go inside. I talked to her. I asked her about her life and living this way. She asked me about my life. It was the most amazing thing. And then at the end of the move, when the guys were all done, they said they wanted to tip us. And I didn't really understand what that meant.
Yeah.
But what it meant was they sang to us.
Oh, wow.
It was amazing. And I'm not even Catholic. And I had like goosebumps. And it was just amazing to me. Some of our guys are actually super religious. And so by the end of the song, our guys were standing there in tears.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
it was just an amazing experience I will never forget. And I didn't even touch on how we moved it.
Yeah. I know you moved their stuff, but they moved you emotionally and spiritually.
They did. I mean, we had flatbeds and forklifts, and this thing was on the back of a flatbed. And I mean, it really did take a lot of maneuvering to get it all done because it was huge. So we had to put it into a box truck and then wheel it out onto the flatbed and then use the forklift to get it down to the ground because it was huge. It was just this. Oh, yeah, we have lots of pictures of it, but it was an amazing experience.
Wow. How do you handle moves that involve climate controlled storage, custom crating?
We create all kinds of pieces. Over the years, artwork, the standard stuff, right? Artwork, statues. We created an antique motorcycle art display. We've done, even created pianos. So we just measure it, build the crate. We can put anything in a crate. It's not a problem. As far as the climate controlled, our warehouse keeps a constant temperature.
Yeah.
It doesn't fluctuate more than 10 degrees. And when I say 10 degrees, it's 10 degrees in the summer and 5 degrees in the winter. And we have gauges throughout the warehouse that tell me what the temperature is. So we actually keep an eye on it. It's the temperature fluctuations that cause furniture pieces to warp or things to get damaged. So as long as it keeps a fairly constant temperature, then everything's fine. Plus, we put everything in crates, which are big wooden crates, and they help to regulate the temperature as well.
Got it. What are some of the most common mistakes you see families make when moving fragile or high value items themselves?
Not properly prepping. So moving an item can be quick and easy.
Yeah.
It's the prep that takes the time. A grandfather clock, for example, everybody knows that you need to take the pendulum and the weights out. That's like kind of a known thing. But some antiques actually come apart and like the crown on the top of an armoire comes off. And you can take this huge piece apart.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of customers, you know, we go in and we do a walkthrough and we're like, oh, this comes apart. And they're like, no, it doesn't. And we have to show them, yes, it actually does come apart because they've got it in their house and they have no idea that, you know, that it comes apart. But we just know the secrets and the techniques to move things because sometimes, even though something can come apart,
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to take it apart because maybe it's going to move better and safer as one piece.
Yeah.
So I think it's the prep. It's really that when you're moving yourself, you're in a hurry. You just want to get it done. But taking the time to prep it is really why you're paying us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge in making sure something gets there safely.
Yeah. I want to pivot a little bit. Let's talk more about senior moves. I know many are complex and they're multi-step and they're not straightforward. Can you walk us through a typical multi-step move, like one involving estate sale, storage, and shipping items to family members?
Yeah, we've actually done this hundreds, probably thousands of times over the years. I don't know a number on that, but it would be an interesting one to look up. We start with doing a walkthrough with a client or a family member or both. Sometimes it might be a senior move coordinator, it could be real estate agent. Lots of people get involved at various different times. But we start by showing them how to identify what's going where, because we'll use color coding, we make lists. There's various different things that we do to keep track of what's going where. And then we schedule everything separately. So if the senior is moving locally, then we will come in, pack and move the senior out. So we get them set up, we get all of that done. Then we come back and we start working on one location at a time. And what I mean by that is we're going to pack, we're going to prep, which may mean blanket wrapping, whatever, do an inventory, get it loaded into the truck. Once that is done, then we start on the next one. You don't want to have too many things going at once. You want to keep things separated. So that's probably the biggest key to it, because we've done things where there's 3, 5, even 10 different locations things are going to. Even if it's just 2 things going to one location, I identify those 2 things, set them aside, work on the next.
Okay. A good follow-up question is, how do you help families prioritize what to keep, sell, donate, or ship?
It really depends on the project. This can be tough sometimes because some of our seniors are really motivated, and they want to get rid of things, and they're like faster than us, and they're, tossing things out really quickly, while others may not be as willing to get rid of stuff. We've had guys go out and somebody's living in a 3,000 square foot home, and what they are identifying to take is like the whole house. And we're like, you're moving into 800 square feet. This is not going to fit, right?
Right.
So it's really about being patient. Our guys are able to come in ahead of time and help them make piles of what to donate, what to keep, and all of that. And for the clients that are willing and are capable of making those decisions without too much emotion, those ones are easy. The ones that need a little more help, we may bring in a senior move organizer to help them. And it just depends on the client. And we sort of identify that and fill them out and say, would you be open to this? And if they are, we've got a couple that we work with on a regular basis that we bring in on projects where we just know that they're struggling.
Yeah, for my clarification, is that the same thing as a professional organizer?
It is, but they specialize in seniors. All organizers, I feel like, have a specialty. They may, if you've got a hoarder, that's a whole different certification and specialty and all of that, right? And seniors, there are organizers that are senior organizers, like they specialize in working with seniors. So we have a tendency to lean towards one in particular that we really, really like, but we've got like 3 or 4 that we work with on a really regular basis. So we know personalities, we can go, you know what, I think this one's really going to work with this client well, because she can help to motivate or whatever. And you kind of get a feel for the different clients and what their needs might be. And some of them, our guys are so good at organizing and making piles and doing stuff. Yeah. Some of them, they work with us and that's all they need. They don't need this extra step, So we just, what is it that they say? Read the room.
Yeah.
We really connect with our seniors and figure out what they need.
Perfect. Let's talk about estate types of moves. Estate moves often involve multiple decision makers, adult children, trustees, executors. How do you manage that dynamic?
What's interesting is that I find that there's usually one person, whether it's a family member or executor, there's one person that's typically in charge, even if there's multiple people involved. And sometimes we have to keep people filled in on things. But in all my years of doing this, I do find that there's typically one person that's been allocated as the coordinator, if you will. And we've done a lot of estates where all the family members are out of the country. So it can take days to get answers back. So technology is so great. It's changed over the years, right?
Right.
We can do a walkthrough. You can do a FaceTime with somebody. Our guys FaceTime with clients that are out of the country, and Google Sheets, all these different things that you're able to use to help that we didn't have 30 years ago.
Right.
It's made our life so much easier, especially when you're dealing with time zones and stuff. So, I mean, we use every aspect of it that we need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to mediate between family members with differing opinions on what to do with items?
One comes to mind that we did a couple of years ago. An executor called and wanted us to go in. The senior had passed away. And so we went in, we emptied the house, and everything had to go to court. And then, so we're holding on to this stuff. Mm-hmm. So then they have to come here to sort and identify what's going where because they didn't do it prior. These family members came in and we just had to separate them because they couldn't be in the same room together. So we had one group in the lobby and one group in the warehouse. And when the warehouse people had gone through a certain vault and identified what they want and we tagged it, then they switched and the other group came in the warehouse and they went. And it was like figuring out how to separate children that are fighting, but it worked. We made it work and it was fine. This is kind of an extreme case and we've only had to do that once, but you go to your corner and work over here and you go to your corner. But normally people are civilized or they just talk behind somebody's back and we figure it out.
Now, what systems or tools do you use to keep all stakeholders informed and reduce stress?
Kind of that same stuff that I was talking about before, whether it's FaceTiming with them because they can't be there and they kind of want to do a walkthrough. When the movers get there, have them call me. Google and all the technology that we can use now with making lists, especially we also receive things. We don't just move things out. So for receiving items, if we're getting a lot of stuff, we'll use like Google Sheets and we put everything in there. What did we receive? When did we receive it? Take a picture of it. And then the client has access to that as well. So it's not always stuff going out. We have stuff coming in too.
Okay. How do you work with senior transition specialists and realtors like myself to create a smooth process for a client?
Everyone has their own style. We want to be an extension of your service. So we want to be part of your team, whether it's a realtor, it's a senior move manager, fiduciary, all of these people. We want you to know that when you call us, we got you. We're part of the team. So some realtors and people that call basically will call and say, hey, I want you to know this person's calling. And we just take it over and we know what to do from there. While others may call and they schedule a walkthrough and they're a little bit more hands-on and a little more involved. So it depends on the person because some realtors go, I don't want anything to do with it. I just want you to handle it. We got you. But we ask a lot of questions because I need to know who the decision maker is and I need to know who the one is that has the answers so that I know who I want to work with.
Yeah.
In most cases, we need to talk to the client, especially if I'm asking simple questions. Are they downsizing? Who's doing the packing? If the person I'm talking to on the phone doesn't know these things, then I know I need to meet with the client and get all my questions answered. So we just deal with it however the individual needs us to.
Yeah, sounds good. And do you collaborate with estate planners, attorneys, or senior living communities during moves?
Yeah, we can. We are on the list for several different senior living communities. Most of the time, for them, they'll give our name out and then the client or family member is calling us to move them in.
Yeah.
But for the living communities, we get a lot of phone calls where they're moving them around just on site from one unit to another.
Yeah.
And that doesn't really involve the family. They just want us to come in, pack it up, and move it over to whether it's a different floor or the same floor or whatever. And we do a lot of that. And so that's directly with the community normally.
Yeah.
We've also got estate attorneys and fiduciaries that they call and they've worked with us for so long that they just call and say, I need you to go and pack and move this. It's 2,500 square feet. Just get it done, put it in your storage. And we just go out and do it. They like us because they don't have to worry about anything. One phone call and they know we've got it taken care of. So we coordinate with a lot. And some of these, especially attorneys and realtors, we've worked with from the beginning, some of them 30 years. And I look back on, wow, we started working together this long ago. Yeah, they know they can trust us, and that feels good.
I love that. That speaks volumes about your reputation and the trust that you've built. So, congratulations on that.
Yeah.
Now, can you share a success story where collaboration between your team and other professionals made a huge difference for a client?
You know what? There's so many things. I'm just going to say the emotional side of moving a senior
Yeah.
is huge. When I hear our guys coming back in and saying, oh my gosh, she was so happy. She hugged us all at the end. She was crying. I hear this kind of stuff all the time. And if you're out at somebody's house, it might be one day, which is still 8 hours, maybe 2 days, sometimes 5 days if they've got big ones. By the end of it, these guys are family, right? They are hugging each other and they are crying, and it is emotional. And so I think all of them we've touched in some way, and that makes me feel good.
How do you and your team maintain a high touch, caring experience for seniors during a move?
One of the things we haven't touched on is we are a silver certified moving company. What that means is that our staff has gone through training, and it's basically talking about, all of the training is talking about the emotional aspect of moving a senior that maybe has lived in their house for 45 years and now they're leaving it. Some of them don't want to move. They don't want to leave, right? You may be dealing with people that are going to tell you something 3 or 4 times because they have dementia or just slight memory issues. I have memory issues. So the training is set to deal with that emotional side of them. And it's about being patient, just taking your time and making sure that they trust that what we're doing is in their best interest.
Yeah.
And what I found really interesting was when they started doing the training, some of the guys that were doing the training said, this is the stuff we do every day. And I'm like, thank you. I'm so glad you're saying that, because it means that you already are doing these things and it's not new to you. It shouldn't be new to you if we've done our job in training you up till now. So we put our move coordinators, our salespeople, our drivers, packers, movers, new employees, everybody goes through this training. We make sure that everybody's on the same page of what we expect from them.
Got it. Are there extra touches you provide that clients are often surprised by?
I've got pictures of, because other guys will snap pictures. I've got pictures of my guys vacuuming. They vacuum. That's a pretty common one, a lot. They also clean. So if you have been in a home for a very long time, when was the last time that you moved that dresser and what's behind it, right? So it might have cobwebs behind it and underneath it and stuff like that. So the guys are constantly dusting and wiping, but they even keep a blower in the truck. We blow out the garage because, I mean, that workbench is covered with stuff and it makes us look good, but we also don't want all your dirt and dust in our trucks. So we clean things off. So that's one of the things, is just sort of cleaning and keeping things tidy. And then I hear from clients all the time that they were impressed by the little things that we do that they weren't expecting. Just, oh, this is the bedding box. Let's put it next to the bed so they can find it. Or does the person need us to make the bed? We'll make the bed. So whatever the situation warrants, my guys will do.
Nice. I want to segue into advice from you for families. What's the number one piece of advice you'd give to families starting the senior moving process?
Start early, especially if you're downsizing or decluttering or doing things like that. Start early. It's just, I get phone calls from people and they're moving in a few weeks and they have a huge downsizing project and they haven't started anything. So I think it's about figuring out what you need, evaluate the situation. How much assistance do you need with this? What are you keeping? What are you getting rid of? Those are big decisions to make. right? So
Right.
I think starting early is really the biggest advice I can give to people.
A related question then is how far in advance should families contact a moving specialist for a big estate or senior move?
Depends on the time of the year and whether or not it's a local move or a long distance move.
Hmm.
So for in the summer, for example, a good moving company can be booked up 6 to 8 weeks in advance
Mm-hmm.
for big jobs. We usually, for the smaller senior, if it's a small senior one, a lot of times we can fit it in. But I tell people if it's a local move, 2 to 4 weeks. Long distance move is more like 6 to 8 weeks
Okay.
ahead. Long distance takes more coordination and it's a longer drive. If you're going to Florida or somewhere, it's
Yeah.
going to take a little longer.
Yeah. What's the most common challenge you see, and how can families avoid it?
The challenge is there's so many options out there for moving companies. And I mean, we're the best, obviously, but there are other good ones out there. I think the problem is the technology I was talking about that's so helpful for us can also create a situation that is difficult when you Google it and you look up moving companies and there's all these pretty websites that come up.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, pretty website doesn't mean they're a good company.
Right.
And so it's weeding through that and figuring it out. So I always tell people my advice would be if you haven't, obviously get referrals, right? Check
Yes.
out all the online reviews that you can and all of that. If you go to a website and they don't have a physical address, like an address, a commercial location where they have a building,
Mm-hmm.
go to the next one because chances are it's a broker. And a broker, all they do is take your money and they sell the work to anybody that'll pay them. And so you don't know who's coming to your house or if anybody's going to show up. So you want to avoid brokers at all cost. There's like $3 million a year in moving scams. And some of them are even just licensed, but not good reputation
Yeah.
people. But definitely you want to find somebody that's got a physical address that's local to you, that if you wanted to, you could drive down to their office and they exist, right? And then also checking out licenses. I think that consumers don't understand the moving industry and they don't understand that we're regulated by the state.
Okay.
There is something called the Bureau of Household that regulates and assigns a permit, which means that they make sure that the moving company has the proper insurance, general liability, workers' comp, all of these things. Consumers can file complaints against moving companies with them and they'll yank licenses and they do all this stuff. So their license, it shows up as it's CALT, CALT, and then 5 digits. And that's on the side of our truck.
Got it.
When you see trucks driving down the road or somebody tells you, oh yeah, we're licensed, and they have an MC number, MC followed by some numbers, or DOT followed by some numbers, that's issued by the DMV. That has nothing to do with a moving permit. So you want to make sure that if your mover is operating in California, that they have this CALT number. And you can go onto the Bureau of Household Goods website and you can enter a moving company's name and it'll come up. If it says does not exist, move on, And so I put this website on everything when I am corresponding with people. I have it on our website. I put it everywhere because I want people to use it. And whether you use me or you use somebody else, I want to make sure you're with a legitimate company. So that's probably, it's hard to educate because it's an industry that people don't know all the different aspects of it.
All the ins and outs, right? Yeah, I just learned something. So thank you for teaching me that. Now, for families managing a move from a distance, maybe in another state, what's the best way for them to make it smooth?
Hire us. And I am somewhat serious because we've done this so many times that we're really good at managing a move from long distance. And we got even better at it during COVID. Okay. So many people were not anywhere around. But we've got one client that we moved that literally, she's like, oh, we're planning another move. And the first thing out of my mouth is, where are you going this time? Because during the move, they go on a trip.
Yeah.
And we move them while they're gone every time. And so I think there's techniques to it, and we just kind of know, but really it's staying in communication with them and all of that. We do it all the time.
Okay. Looking ahead, how do you see the moving industry evolving for seniors and estates in the next 5 to 10 years?
I actually looked up stats about this because as being part of Wheaton Van Lines, we have a group of us in there that are silver certified, and they're all over the country, and we talk about what's happening and that the senior population is rising. Right now we're at about 15 million, and it's going to jump to 23 million by 2035 or 2030. And so I just think there's a lot more of it, right? It's going to affect housing. It's going to affect a lot of different things. We've already seen a big change. We do a lot more senior moves now than we did 25 or 30 years ago. So I can already see the trajectory of where it's going and how many seniors. And the reason we got silver certified is because of what I mentioned earlier about the moving scams. And it happens to others as well, but to our seniors, it really makes me angry if I hear that somebody has taken their money and not delivered services, or charged more than they should have for something, or just not provided what they should have. And so I wanted to make sure that we were taking care of our seniors. And so it's growing. I think it's going to be a huge thing, and we want to be in the middle of it.
Yeah. You were just talking about the silver tsunami. I'm in the real estate side, and I'm seeing it too. And I want to be that resource to help all of the seniors even transition, obviously, into these senior communities and whatnot. So we're both in this space. So I agree with you. And so lastly, any final words, and how can listeners connect with you if they want to learn more about your services?
Connecting with us is pretty easy. Between our website, allreasonsmoving.com, and I really like it when people pick up the phone and just call. But we've got the forms you can fill out online and all of that stuff. And so you can just give us a call, 408-240-0244. But setting up an appointment if you're planning to move somewhere down the road, if you're starting to think about it, give us a call and we can send somebody in and they can do a walkthrough. And as far as final words, we're here to help. And moving's expensive. It's stressful. And I always tell people, you want to shop a mover not based on price, but what kind of experience do you want to have? Do you want to be sitting in your home with everything all set up and with your favorite beverage next to you and you're all snuggled into your new place? Or do you want to be sitting in some location on the phone trying to file a claim for the broken stuff or tracking down a truck because it didn't arrive? Shop experience and make sure that you're with a reputable, good moving company, whether it's me or someone else.
Yeah, that's solid advice. Kim, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your heart with us today. You've reminded us that moving, especially for seniors, is more than just logistics. It's about care, attention to detail, and protecting the memories that make a house a home. And for those of you watching or listening, if your loved one is considering senior living and you need to figure out what to do with their home, let's talk. You can book a free consultation and learn more about my services at www.simplifyseniortransitions.com. Have a quick question, DM me on Instagram at soldbydale. And don't forget, the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast is available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all major platforms. Here's my promise again. Every episode of this podcast is designed to make senior living transitions less overwhelming, with stories, tools, and insights you could actually use. If you found this interview helpful, please leave it a 5-star review, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who needs it. Thanks for tuning in. Kim, one last thank you for being on the show with me today.
Thanks for having me.
And for everybody else, I'll see you on the next episode of the Simplify Senior Transitions podcast.